Okay, I'm just gonna be honest. I'm on like take 7 of this episode. I've been sitting here. It's 8:14, March 9th. Okay, I've been sitting here for like 30 minutes trying to record this episode, and for the life of me, I cannot get past the opening 4 seconds because for the last couple of days, if you don't know, I have another podcast called "I Can't Believe This Got Greenlit," and just for the record, I am like the co-host of that show. Like my partner on that show, also my partner in Quaywood, also my partner in the bedroom, Nick Warner. don't tell him I said that. My partner Nick Warner, he hosts that show. It's like when you click on that show, instead of hearing my voice first, you hear his voice, and he goes like, "Hi, hello, and welcome to I Can't Believe This Got Greenlit, a show where we discuss movies from our childhood and nostalgia from watching them as kids." Nostalgia. Oh no, I went like Italian with it. On nostalgia, watching them as kids, how they got made, and our experiences rewatching them as adults. I'm one of your hosts, Nick Warner, and joining me, as always, Matthew Pelton. And then I have been like, "What's up?" And it's fucking great. But for the last couple, like 2 to 3 weeks, I can't tell you why, but we have been purposely banking like 40 episodes. So we have all these episodes banked, but I've been in such like greenlit mode that I haven't done a director in development since the last episode, like 2 weeks ago, which was back in development. So I started this episode, again, 30 minutes ago. And every time I started, I went, "Yo, welcome back to I Can't Believe This Got Greenlit." And I wouldn't even catch it. The first time I did it, I went on this whole tangent. I said the whole episode. Like, I went the whole thing. It was great. It was like a great take. And I totally fucked it up. And I listened back and I'm like, that is simply not the show. So what I might do, just because I'm lazy, I might just take that recording and just cut out the beginning and just redo it and say the actual name of the goddamn show instead of I Can't Believe This Got Greenlit. Point is, it's Nick's fault. And welcome to Director in Development. In Developmente. I'm going to go Italian with it. Welcome to Director Developmente. I'm getting canceled for that. I'm sorry. I'm sorry to all my Italian listeners. Bye! Anyway, welcome back to Director in Development, the podcast that does not stop until it's announced that I am directing Avengers 9 or any Marvel movie. I was gonna say any superhero movie, but like, listen, I don't even know if the James Gunn DC thing is gonna keep going after Paramount buys it. I hope so, like fingers crossed, because that just started. But just in case, I'm just gonna put Marvel out into the world. So welcome back to Director in Development, podcast that does not stop until it's announced I'm directing Avengers 9. I'm your host, Matthew Pelton, and today we are doing the first episode of our first real big series. For directing development, I always thought it'd be cool if we had like an ongoing series, like a part 1, part 2, part 3. I've also been listening to a lot of Crime Weekly recently, and they do like parts 1 through 8, and each episode is like 2 hours, so you're looking at 16 hours of like true crime, and I'll just have that on the TV while I sit on the couch, fully just in my underwear, playing Stardew Valley for a good, 16 hours a day? And yeah, it's great. Like, am I listening to like brutal, horrific crime while playing like the cutest game ever created? Yes. And does it bother me at all? No. I love it. It's such a weird juxtaposition, and I fucking love it. But welcome to the first part of why I chose Emerson College. This will be a 4-part series. I like the idea that every episode we will cover a different year of my time at Emerson. For those who don't know, I graduated Emerson in 2024. I'm now a grad student at Loyola? Why can't I say that? Loyola. It's a really hard name to say, but like if you get it right and don't drop a weird accent while doing it, it does sound pretty sick. So I now am a grad student at LMU. Let's just go with that. And again, I graduated Emerson back in 2024, so I have completed my 4 years of film school. I'm doing a couple more years of film school just to really make sure I know what I'm doing and try to convince other people that I know what I'm doing. Maybe I don't. Who knows? Listen, all the stuff I made at Emerson, you can go watch, okay? I've made short films. I make a bunch of podcasts. You can go see it and see if Emerson's education like really pays off. You know what I mean? Again, I spent 4 years there. You can watch my short films. If they're fucking terrible, let's just blame Emerson and not me. Let's go with that. It's not my fault. It's Emerson's fault. Maybe let's not go with that. Please don't blame Emerson. It's a really bad idea. So part 1 is covering freshman year, but before we can even get into freshman year, let's go all the way back to high school. If you don't know, I went to high school at a place called the Storm King School. And before I say anything, Storm King fucking rocks, okay? I love the Storm King School so much. I was there for 5 years. I was from 8th grade all the way to senior year. And that's really where I found my love of like filmmaking and like writing scripts and directing and all that fun stuff. I had like the one film guy at Storm King. Storm King was such a small school. I think it was like 170 people in total. And that was like max 170. And that's 8th grade to senior year. It's not just high school. The chances of finding someone else who was that into film was pretty small. Like they had a film teacher, but a lot of people either took that class just out of like sheer curiosity. Like, oh, it'd be fun to take like a filmmaking class, but like I don't want to do it as like a profession. And other people took it as just like a requirement. And the teacher's great. I love that guy. And I actually think he converted a lot of people into like filmmaking, like love for filmmaking, because he was so good. But I remember going to Storm King. I think the first week I went up to the film professor and I was like, hey, I know I'm in 8th grade. And there was a set curriculum for 8th grade. Like you couldn't take any electives. And I was like, I want to do film so bad. And he was like relatively new. So he was like, oh my God, you're the first person to ever say that to me. Like no one else has really expressed interest in film. So like, listen, you can't do my class because you're in 8th grade, but I can like kind of take you under my wing a little bit. And anytime I do like film stuff outside of classes, like you can be there. And I was like, yes. So he started like live streaming all the sports games. So like the parents at home can watch those. And every single one I would go to, I'd set up the iPad. Like I was in charge of moving the actual camera, like following the basketball game or the soccer game, the tennis game, whatever. I didn't care what it was, I was there. Freshman year of Storm King, my guy finally showed up. Out of all the 170 students, only one other person actually had an interest in film. And we immediately became like best friends. And we started making YouTube videos together. And that's where like my love for filmmaking, not just like watching films, just like fucking exploded. And then when it came time to pick a college, he wanted to go to NYU. So like his whole life, like he came out of the womb like wearing an NYU shirt and he's like, that's my fucking alma mater, like I will go to NYU. And I was like, well, no offense to New York City, but I fucking hate New York City. I can't stand it. So I don't really want to go to NYU, but like I kind of just want to stay with him because we were so good. Like our partnership was so good and we had so much fun making all of our stupid videos. They're still online, by the way. I'm not going to tell you the YouTube channel, but if you really want to, you could find them. And it was such a blast. So I'm like, I'll follow this kid to the ends of the earth if I have to. So I was like, okay, NYU it is. Like, that's my choice. And for a good year and a half, I put all my eggs into the NYU basket. Like, I did an NYU summer program that I didn't really want to do. It was just like to get my name in their system. I applied, I would take a tour, I would shadow a class, like I would send them emails all the time. Like, hey, like that was the best shadow experience I've ever had. Like that was the best campus tour of all time. Like that's gonna go down history. Let's fucking go. And then the letters went out. And I remember the day the letters went out because me, my film guy, and another friend that also applied to NYU, we all did like the early decision. I think it was early decision, which if you don't know, like if they accept you, you are legally required to go to that school. Like that's how much I wanted to do NYU just for him. I didn't even like New York City. To be honest, NYU, like I didn't really fit in at NYU, but I'm like, no, it's gonna be NYU. And the letters came out, and I remember I was at the bottom of like a hill because Storm King's on like a mountain, so it's a very hilly kind of campus. And my guy was at the top, and all of a sudden I heard him like scream, and I was like, what the fuck? And he came running down the hill, almost tripped and just ate a ton of shit. And he had like tears in his eyes, and he's like, dude, I got in. And he told me before he even told his parents. Like I was the first one to know. I was like, whoa, holy shit. And then I checked my mail, and I'm like, here we go. The future of us making films together, it's about to be solidified. It's about to be cemented, like our partnership. I am ride or die. Let's go. And I didn't get in. I didn't get NYU. I was like, fuck. And I think I only did NYU in Pace. Pace was my backup school. No offense to Pace. Pace is a great school. But it was just, you know, everything else considered, it was like my backup at the time. So I got into Pace. I didn't get an NYU. So I'm like, damn it. I'm like, well, I already didn't want to go to New York City. And now if I go to Pace, no offense to Pace, I'd be going to a school I didn't even really want to go to in a city that I actively fucking hate. So I'm like, this sucks. Like, I know I just said I'm my ride or die, but am I that ride or die? So I remember I was sitting in a classroom mourning my NYU loss, Even though I was really mourning him. I didn't even like NYU. I was mourning like, oh, like my creative partnership with this guy's probably over. And my friend Sophia, God bless her soul, she turned to me. She's like, well, have you ever heard of Emerson College? And I'm like, no, what is that? She's like, oh, I really wanted to go there. I really wanted to apply. I don't even think she applied, but it was like this school that she fell in love with because it was all creative and just weird, bizarre majors. Like all the fucking weirdos and outcasts of high school, this is where they went for college in the best way. Like all the cool people went to fucking Emerson. And I was like, oh, okay. So I found Emerson and I'm like, well, they seem to have a pretty good film program, but I don't want to do that. I want to do poetry. So I applied to go to Emerson. And I was like, okay, here we go. This is now my dream school. Now I'm putting all my eggs in this basket. When I put all my eggs in the NYU basket, I was just kidding. I meant to put all my eggs in this one, and I just made a mistake. So I put all my eggs in the Emerson basket, and I got deferred. And I was like, okay, I'm not going to college. Fuck this. I'm out. Like, this is not working. So I got deferred, which I'm like, okay, if you get deferred, you're not out of the running. Like, you can still pull this off. I was determined. So I did the same shit. I like did a tour. I shouted a class. I followed up emails with fucking everybody. Even like the head of admissions, I emailed extra documents that weren't in my college application, which I don't even think you can do. I just was like, here's some like other poems I wrote, and here's more recommendations that you didn't ask for, but here they are. And I think I emailed like once a week, just begging to be led into Emerson. And finally, I think I got an email back like, okay, like, can you stop fucking annoying us? We'll let you in. I'm like, yes. So I got into Emerson. Was it my first choice? Looking back, yes. Because really, I didn't want to go to NYU. I just wanted to continue, like, making stuff with this guy. And I'm really happy I didn't get into NYU and I got into Emerson. Because at the time, that was the place to be. That felt like the coolest place to be, especially for a poetry major, which ended up kind of all crashing and burning. Whoops.
Hello there. My name is Anderson Hauptli. Most people just call me Andy, but I went to Emerson College all 4 years from 2020 to 2024 within the interdisciplinary program. I did study business of creative enterprise and communication, but most of my extracurricular work did involve film, including some of the clubs there as well. I've had experience with the radio station, our ultimate frisbee team, and then just some general set experience overall. And in terms of film experience, I have worked as a producer most of my years, pretty much since I started film, which was back in high school, but, I started to take it a little more seriously in college, even more seriously so now. But I've known Pelton as well since, I'm trying to remember exactly, it might have been, I think we've known each other since like sophomore or junior year perhaps, but we didn't work together until senior year, where we worked on River Fork Community College, the series. And now I'm also currently part of the Quaywood collective as a producer and just kind of a general consultant as well. So that's how we know each other, just kind of working together and stuff. But he's also a good buddy of mine. Happy to call him a good friend and proud of what he's doing with the collective and director in development, and can't believe this got greenlit. So all around great dude and excited to be on the show. I would say Emerson to me was really intriguing based on what I'd seen online, as well as what people had generally told me about the experience. I didn't know many people going into it, but for the few that I did, a lot of the times they mentioned how much they enjoyed the community. And honestly, the intrigue of studying in Boston was a really big push for me. And I loved going to school there, but even just initially glancing at it, I think really taking interest in a lot of the different programs that they had, especially because I wasn't 100% sure what I wanted to do with my major yet. And then knowing that I was going to a big film school, even if I wasn't directly in the program, would be a benefit to me because I would at least be surrounded by like-minded people. At first, when I first started to think about, what I really wanted to do in terms of a career, film wasn't the immediate first thought. For the longest time, I really wanted to be a painter. And a big reason for that is just I grew up with a lot of that experience in my life. To this day, it's still a big creative outlet for me. My mom is an artist, and so I've gotten a lot from her, and she's a big role model for me. But I also took a film course in high school. It was just like a film appreciation course. We didn't have a whole kind of tent pole of different programs or classes like a 101, 201. There's nothing like that. But we did have one course that you could take for a half year. And I really learned through there how much I loved film, because I've always been watching film and television and participating in media. But to me, that was the experience where I finally learned to appreciate film far more than just a piece of eye candy. But it's genuinely something that you could get a career in. It's something that there's a lot of art associated with it. There's strategy, there's vision, there's so much to play with, and it was so much more intricate and detailed than I initially imagined. It was definitely something that, with further glance and with further research and detail, I just learned how in-depth the industry goes, and I really found how interesting it was, the kind of creative combination between, business as well as the kind of creative side as well, and kind of the marriage between those two entities and how that creates the industry. It's not like a one-sided entity by any means. And that really led me to Emerson, again, just because I was really interested in film, but I didn't know if that was exactly what I wanted to utilize my whole major with, especially because I'm a person with many different interests. And I think that was a pretty big sayer for me, and I didn't really know anyone else applying to the school, but I did imagine that I would meet some really, really interesting folks there, and I certainly have. So I'm really glad about that.
So there was a big kind of disconnect when I first got to Emerson from like what I thought Emerson was going to be versus what Emerson actually ended up being. And not in a bad way. It was just most of my life. I didn't get warned, but I got told by my father, especially. He's like, college is going to be the best years of your life. Like, fucking go to college, live large for 4 years, enjoy it while you got it. Because, like, once those 4 years are done, you enter the real world and it's over. So I'm like, okay, like, I really had a great time at Storm King. I love my time there. Like, that place treated me so great. Time to go to Emerson. Let's see how these 4 years are going to be even better. Like, that's what I was promised my whole life. So I go, but you got to remember, my freshman year, I went in the middle of COVID. So I went, and, like, Boston was vacant. It's like I just walked into, like, a fucking ghost town. Like, if you saw people walking around, which even then was kind of rare, if you saw people walking around, they were all masked up. Everybody was like 6 feet from each other. Okay, it was just this weird, like, post-apocalyptic version of Boston. I'm like, okay, this is strange. And also remember, Storm King is in the middle of nowhere, New York, and all of a sudden I'm going from that to like a major city, which I did do on purpose. Like, when I remember being at Storm King being like, I've had the experience of like a traditional campus. I kind of want an experience like a city, like a college in a city that doesn't have just like a campus. And there's like the fucking Chase Lounge or whatever. I don't even know what's on a normal campus in college because I didn't do it. So I get to Boston, and within like the first week, I realized like the first 2 days they make us quarantine and we have to do COVID tests just to make sure we don't have COVID. And then after like the first couple of days, then we can go out and like explore the campus and explore the city. Well, the campus, explore the buildings and go explore the city, etc. So me and my roommate, we spent 2 days just in quarantine, the two of us, and we got really close. There's not much you can do. So you're basically just talking to each other for like 48 hours straight. No other sign of life, like nothing else going on. I think we just like watched movies, and he's a big Muppets guy, so I'm sure we watched Muppets. He also loves Borat. So he was just like quoting Borat at me for like 48 hours. I'm like, what did I sign up for? But this is also kind of awesome. And then finally we were let out of quarantine. We got to explore Boston, which was a mix of spooky and overwhelming because it was just so big, but also it was so different from what I just went through with Storm King. And I'm like, wait, this is so rad. And I was kind of in. But the way Emerson worked during COVID was it was flex. So, okay, for example, let's say your class met on a Monday and a Wednesday. On Monday, it was on Zoom, and on Wednesday, it was in person. But if you went in person, obviously, like, you were masked up and all the seats were really far from each other. So both were tough in terms of like meeting people. So I was kind of in this weird spot where I'm like, okay, I became fucking best friends with my roommate in 2 days because what else is there to do? So me and him were like attached at the hip. And then we couldn't really meet anyone in classes because it was really hard. So what we would do is we had a window that faced into like a little living area in the same building. Like it didn't face outside, it faced further into the building. So anyone that walked by, we would just start waving and try to befriend them. And that's how I met like my girlfriend at the time. Like I was just waving and I was talking to her over the summer, like over the phone and like on Instagram, whatever. So we were waving at people and I was like, holy shit, that's fucking her. I was like, that's crazy. And then she came over and my roommate, of course, put on Borat and she hated it. And she like ran out halfway through the movie and almost never spoke to me again. My roommate almost fucked that up. But thank God I told her, I was like, no, I don't like Borat either. And it was totally fine. So luckily, I had my roommate who fucking rocked. And I had a girlfriend. And I'm like, she's fucking great. And we did slowly but surely kind of build this little group. And it was little because it was COVID. Like, you weren't really allowed to, like, broaden your horizons in terms of friends. Like, in all of my classes, I had no friends. I would just show up to a class. I would have fun with people. Like, it was fine, but we weren't hanging out after because, like, what are you supposed to do? You can't go eat. Like, you can go sit outside and keep 6 feet apart. You know what I mean? That's all you can really do. So it was just, like, me and my roommate. And, like, all right, my girlfriend come over because you can have, like, 1 or 2 other people in your room. And that's it. And even then, you're supposed to stay masked up, which we were pretty good at. So it was just this weird COVID enigma. And at first, I was so excited by Boston, but after a while, I kind of missed that campus feeling of Storm King because Storm King was such a home for me, and I just loved it there so much. So to be somewhere so different, I was like, oh wait, like I really like that. I really like that feeling. And again, I was a poetry major. I wasn't even a film major yet.
I would say that for, if we're being honest, how is your overall experience at Emerson? That to me was really positive. I know it's not for everyone, and it totally is understandable. But for me, I had a really great time because I'm going to emphasize this probably again, and I already have. It's just, again, the people. You're surrounded by like-minded individuals, people from far different backgrounds from you. There's, a great sense of community. And I really do think people gravitate towards each other when they generally attend the school because you get to work on so many projects outside of the classroom. As great as the curriculum can be to certain degrees, I also find that it's what you do outside of the classroom that really does set you apart at Emerson and far beyond that. It's really what are you doing in those extracurriculars and what are you using your time with as an investment for your future. So for me, it was an overall great experience, and I would happily do it again. And I hope that for anyone that's interested or anyone that has gone, hopefully their future experience or their past experience was positive as much as mine was, even if it was only a fraction. I was really having a good time there. And I also attended the summer ELA program, the Emerson Los Angeles program, which really gave me, I think, another step in the right direction, especially now that I live in Los Angeles. And I thought it was a really good test pilot for learning that I'd really like to be here. So that kind of folds into my next answer, which is, what is your favorite and least favorite thing about Emerson? Honestly, one of my favorite things about Emerson, other than just the people, is the fact that you get to treat it very much like a playground and a sandbox for your ideas and the things that you'd like to do. I think college is the time to experience what it is you're interested in doing. That is sort of the reason that it exists in the first place, other than the financials, of course. But I do think that, Emerson specifically allows you to collaborate with people, and it's a very good way of telling what you want to do versus what you don't want to do. Because if you try something, you give it your best shot, and you discover, hey, this thing isn't for me, boom, you move on, you learn to not do it again, or it's something that you can return to, let's say a couple months, maybe even a couple years down the line, or you never have to do it again. I think that's the most important thing about my time there, is really narrowing in on what I feel that I'm strong at and what I desire to do and what I like to do. My least favorite thing probably about attending Emerson, as much as the community is great and the like-minded people are really great, there is a sense of tunnel vision. You do get caught in a bit of a bubble because it is such a unique sort of environment and atmosphere, if you will, with the Emerson student body. You are really losing a sense of what else is going on in the climate, what else is going on in the rest of the city sometimes, and even in the rest of the country, because this environment is so niche, which again is a very positive thing, but it can also give you a little bit of that tunnel vision in terms of what the big picture is and what really is kind of going on. And it's, we're full of creative people at the school and so many amazing individuals, but you do kind of lose a sense of even what's going on with some of the other colleges, because I feel that Emerson people are really, really tight with each other, which again is a really great thing. But you're also losing the sense of, you're in a college town and you're in a big state where you can meet tons of other people. And I feel that Emerson students don't go out of their way most of the time to explore these new opportunities, meet these new people, create these connections outside of the Emerson network. I found that even moving to Los Angeles, I know a good amount of folks out here that tend to gravitate specifically towards Emerson folks, even after graduation. So post-graduation, I've seen a lot of people move out, and they specifically cater towards these groups or little bubbles of Emerson people and try not to move outside of that, which I find a little difficult to work with sometimes, even on a set, because you want to be meeting people from Chapman, you want to be meeting people from USC, you want to be meeting people from some of these other schools, because that's an important sense of community further from what you are comfortable with. And just meeting LA natives, people that aren't from LA but moved to LA, people outside of your direct circle. I think Emerson people get a little too comfortable, and I know that I did at times, and I've done a really good job, I think, now trying to get outside of that. And that's something that I recommend for everyone. So, turn something that can be a little difficult into an advantage later in your life when you do go out of your way to network, meet people, and make new friends.
So I started kind of finding my footing with this new crew of people, my roommate, my girlfriend, all these other friends we started making. But what ended up happening was I wasn't really finding my footing in terms of classes. And again, it was a mix of this weird flex COVID thing where when it came to Zoom, and I'm sure I'm not the only one that feels like this, but a Zoom class is not a class. You hop on it just because it's required, and then you're like, oh, this sucks. Anything the teacher's saying, I'm not retaining, I'm not participating, I'm not paying attention. And it wasn't for lack of trying in the beginning, but I'm like, this is just the worst. How do people learn like this? There's no way. And then in person was better, but it was still this weird, you just had to be careful with stuff, and it was just a mess. And they tried their best. I give them so much credit because what are you supposed to do? And I had so many classmates, not at Emerson, my old Storm King people, that their college was fully online. So their freshman year was spent at home in their bedroom. I was just happy to be in Boston. I was like, get me the fuck out of here. I got a place to go. Emerson was trying their best, and goddamn, I appreciate it. But academically, I wasn't doing the strongest. And it was also being in a city was really overwhelming because I learned very quickly it's easy to feel alone in a city, even though you're surrounded by people. And I had friends, but there were so many moments that I would either call my old film guy from high school, from Storm King, and be like, hey man, I don't know if I fit in here. I don't know, I think I might have made a mistake. And actually I have a journal. I found it the other day. I have a journal where I wrote, not all the time, trust me, it was once a fucking year, but I had a couple entries from freshman year, and I was like, I don't know if I fit into Emerson. And that was freshman year. That was before all hell broke loose junior year, which we'll get to in part 3. But freshman year, even then, I knew something's a little off here with me and Emerson. Not objectively something's wrong with Emerson, but there's not quite a clicking happening. But then there was a big twist because I realized 3/4 of the way through freshman year, I was doing great social, I was having a good time. Academically, I was falling apart. I'm I came in as a poetry major. I like writing poetry, but I didn't realize at the time my heart was still in film because I was just so convinced I didn't want to do film without my old partner. And I only want to do film with someone. Like filmmaking is such a collaborative thing, and to have a partner and then just lose him so dramatically, and like that's the end of it. You will never work with him again, was just devastating. So I was like, I don't want to do film. I just don't. But all of a sudden, I was doing poetry. I'm like, man, this is not it. And also, if you look at like the next 4 years of the poetry major, I think there was only like 2 writing classes, and the rest were reading. And I famously don't like reading, even though I want to be a writer. Which like the biggest piece of advice writers get is to read. And I'm like, nah, reading sucks. I'm genius. I don't need it. I'm just gonna go into writing. And there was like 2 writing classes. I'm like, oh my god. So like my second semester, I was in the middle of all these reading classes, and like once a week, they're like giving me 16 chapters of 4 different books. It's all like this thick, dense material, and some of them is about like the art of poetry and how to write poetry, and some of them is just like, go read the Odyssey backwards. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like, this sucks. And then, this is really what changed it. I'm not just saying this because I know he's going to listen. But I met Nick. Nick, like I said earlier, is my partner with Greenlit. He's also my partner in Quaywood. But we've done every single film project together. If you look at all the short films on Quaywood Productions, River Fork, Triptych, Toad, Mama's Pie, Tales, even the new stuff coming up, like What If I'm Already Dead, which was announced, some other couple of things that haven't been announced yet, all of it we did together. Anytime I had an idea, I pitched it to him. We creatively workshop stuff together. We edit together. We write together. Sometimes we even direct together. Like, it's crazy. So I met him at the Boston Common at like a fucking picnic because I couldn't play chess. I was playing Game Pigeon chess with someone who I don't know, but I was playing chess with someone, and he was friends with someone who was there, and he just showed up. I'm like, who the fuck is this kid? So I was like, you. I wasn't that mean about it, but I was like, you. He was like, yeah. And I was like, I need help. Can you play chess? He's like, yeah, I'm a nerd. And I'm like, I know, you look it. And I was like, can you help me with chess? So he starts doing chess on my phone, and he's actually pretty fucking good at it. I'm like, oh, thanks, man. And we just start talking, and somehow film gets brought up, and I'm like, yeah, film. And it was from that point on that I realized, I'm like, when I'm on YouTube, all I watch is film shit. When I talk to people, all I talk about is film shit. What the fuck am I doing in poetry? Go into film. So it's because of Nick and because of that one connection that the rest of my time at Emerson dramatically changed. And if I didn't meet Nick, I don't know if I would have stayed at Emerson. I don't know if I would have graduated Emerson. And if I did, I do wonder if I would have graduated as a creative writing major and not a film major. I might not be making films right now if I didn't meet Nick. And that was like the most crucial thing that happened to me freshman year. COVID, was it tough? Yes. Towards the end of freshman year, I got lighter and lighter, and that was okay. My friend group at the time was great. I had a great time with them, but I was just struggling in this major, and creatively, I just didn't know what to do. And I just felt so lost in the city and at this school. But then this one fucking nerdy blonde kid came sitting down at my goddamn picnic table one day and helped me play chess. And here we are.
I think it really is just communicating with people. I think Emerson, as it is a big communication school, I think that was probably the biggest part of the curriculum, as well as the biggest part of the interpersonal experience that I took away. It's really about, especially when you're in a creative industry, relationship building, meeting the right people, talking to the right people, kind of getting your name out there and attending opportunities. I think the event space is really exciting, and I think people really do find opportunities and connection through others, because in the creative industries, it is so extremely difficult. You have to be a very rare case nowadays to be an individual that can pursue a career, be the top of their game without a team associated around them or with them. That is key. You have to be coming up with the people that are around your level, if not lower. And I say that with little quotes, like little quotations, because that's not, there's no hierarchy necessarily when we're talking creative industry until you move into the business side of things. But in terms of really meeting the right people, you want to be coming up with people. We're moving away from a generation that has decided where you have to up network and meet the next manager, the next CEO, whoever it might be. We've lost a lot of that. Mentorship is also at an all-time low. It's important nowadays to come up with the people that are around you, the people that you meet, and find that team, find that community, find those like-minded people, and continue to work with them, continue to hang out with them, continue to be just a good person with anyone that you associate with who deserves that time, because that is how you're going to continue to grow in your personal life and your career. I think Emerson taught me that. I think I was able to hone in on that skill because of Emerson, and I'm very thankful for that. Those are all my responses. Hopefully everyone enjoyed those. You can find me online. I'm working at a nonprofit nowadays for the Crohn's and Colitis Foundation, and it's a very true and dear mission to me. So if everyone wants to check that out, check out any of my work online at my website, find me on socials, whatever's best for you. I'm always happy to talk and go into a further discussion about any of these things with anyone that reaches out.
So to conclude freshman year in part uno of why I chose Emerson, you could argue I chose Emerson with the wrong intentions. Like, not for the right reasons or the reasons that it ended up being. Like, it was my second place school. I wanted to get an NYU. I pictured a whole future, and that fell apart. And it was like a dramatic, what do I do now? And if this one girl didn't tell me about Emerson, I don't know what my life would look like. So thank you. So I got Emerson recommended. I didn't even find it. It wasn't a college fair. It wasn't through my own Google search. I got it recommended, and I begged and pleaded to go. And I went under the major of creative writing, which isn't even what ended up happening. Like, that's not the major I wanted. But somehow, by like the grace of God, all the stars aligned, and it turned out that I did pick the right college, and the right reasons just hadn't revealed themselves yet. Let's go with that. And we will get there in part 2, which will cover my sophomore year of Emerson. We will have another guest answering very similar questions, so look forward to that. I think for every episode, I want to have a different guest talking about their time at Emerson and why they chose Emerson. Because deep down, listen, I had a kind of bizarre time at Emerson, especially the last 2 years. Part 3 and part 4 are going to be real therapy trauma dumping, and I'm sorry. But I do think Emerson is a special place. And there is something special about that place. There really is. And I can't quite put my finger on it. There's some sort of like mystic vibe. It's a weird feeling, but when you walk in it, there's a certain energy where you're like, no, something's happening here. I just gotta find my footing. And to be honest, I never quite did. But I'm happy that I chose Emerson, even if it was for the wrong reasons, because it ended up being great. All thanks to Nick and Sophia. Thank you to both of you. Okay, that was Director and Development. I have been your host, Matthew Pelton. If you want to listen to more Quaywood production stuff, we have Instagram, we have Facebook, we have TikTok, we have LinkedIn. We don't have Twitter. Sorry. We have a website that I designed. Unless you think it's shitty that Nick designed it. But we have a website. We have another podcast called I Can't Believe It's Got Greenlit. Check that shit out. What else do we have? We got everything. We got short films. We have miniseries. We're working on other stuff that I can't reveal yet, or else Nick will be really mad. But just know we're doing cool shit. So if you want to hear more of me for some fucking reason, go check out the rest of Quaywood and I Can't Believe It's Got Greenlit and all that fun stuff. And I will see you in 2 weeks for why I chose Emerson part 2. See ya!
This has been a Quaywood audio production.